Let me just get my gloves on. Don't like to start with my hands out.
I know. I've seen your hands.
I know, it's a hand reveal.
I'm gonna work out who you are.
People always try to go, like, I've got this fan, right, who gets really angry at me when I get my hands out. Like, how crazy is that? He's like fuming. He's like, I can't believe you done another hand reveal. I'm like, I can't believe you got a term for it. Right, okay, are we good? Yeah, we're rolling. We're rolling. Let's get rid of this.
Do you want these disappearing?
No. Can all stay. Yeah, can all stay. All stay. Right. Hello, Scott. Oh, and hello, everybody. Welcome to the Luton's Deadpool podcast with me, Luton's Deadpool, and my guest today, Scott Griffwood. How you doing, Scott?
Not too shabby. How are you?
See you. You know, can't complain. I've been out collecting lately. I've been doing all my stuff in the middle of town, so. Yeah, I thought I'll put the bucket there for some promotion. Don't worry, this is not peer pressure. But yeah, no, you know, I've been doing some bits. What about yourself? How have you been?
Yeah, not bad. Pretty busy with the Monarch.
I know.
Yesterday.
I know.
Great day for the town.
This is the first one of my podcasts to talk about this as well, and so we can go in.
We can go right in there.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, tell me. Obviously, firstly, let's give a bit of background onto who you are, and then we'll talk about King Charles a little bit later, yeah?
Fab.
So, Scott, firstly from me, I first discovered you probably during the first wave of the pandemic, and I just started noticing your name everywhere. It's like, on my Twitter feed, you was popping up every day, on my Facebook every day, on pretty much every platform that I used, you were just everywhere, and I was like, who the hell is Scott? What was your name?
Eastwood.
Eastwood, yeah.
Eastwood. So I was an Eastwood.
And now you're a Griffwood.
My husband was a Griffin. And when we got married in May, we merged. So we became Griffwood. So we took his name and my name.
No way.
Created
that's
a new dynasty.
That's amazing. That's actually amazing. I thought he was Griffwood. I was like, that is such a coincidence.
No.
But no way.
We merged our names together. So.
Oh man, that's actually awesome. So yeah, but that's when I first discovered you. So. You know, tell me firstly, like, what was that time during the pandemic like for you?
Wow, it was pretty crazy, pretty crazy. Like, I met with Fiona, who I did the Luton Community Action Group with, on sort of a week before government announced any lockdowns. I went, I've got a crazy idea. How about we just do a little Facebook group where people can go, hey, I'm going to a shop, anyone need a pint of milk, blah blah blah, and then from that. It just sort of exploded and snowballed, and all of a sudden we were summarizing government sort of information and newscasts, and then the next thing we're talking with Luton Council's comms team every day. We're talking with public health every day. We're talking with the clinical commissioning group every day, telling them what communities are saying, and before we know it, it was 1,000, 2,000, 5,000.
Wow.
8,000 people were like sort of relying on us, and we were doing that sort of working from home as well. So I was working for the National Lottery Community Fund at the time, so as a civil servant, trying to get the government to agree to give money out to charities, as well as moving all of our online events for charities online, because they were all in person before that. So straight away we just had to pivot all of work, and this was going on. I saw Fiona more than my husband Paul at the time, and then it was like, it was then like when it came to, can you go and get tested, and can you do a video, because actually you've got a bigger reach than us, and we were challenging sort of weekly the clinical commissioning group when it came to like vaccinations on Luton, and I was pointing out 7-8 months beforehand, going, we're at 42%. The rest of the county, the rest of Bedfordshire and Milton Keynes, who share the same clinical commissioning group, are on 60, 70, 80%, and we're on 40%. What are you going to do about it? And I'm like, yeah, I can catch up. And lo and behold, in Luton, we've got lower vaccination rates than the rest of the national average. But it was a crazy time, but it was also a really rewarding time, actually. And seeing the good, and you know, me and Fiona, we were admins on a group, whatever, that's great. But seeing the good, seeing people like, you know, the superheroes going out, making people smile, seeing actually the incredible work our NHS was doing, you know, seeing our neighbours, looking after each other, going out, helping people get food, making sure that people got their medicines, walking someone's dog if they had COVID, whatever they were doing, just seeing the sheer community power that Luton has is incredible. And actually, you know, as a town, we might have our ups, we might have our downs. People might, you know, have challenges and say Luton's crap and all this. I'm allowed to swear. Sorry.
Yeah, you're allowed to swear.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I'll just say no F's and no C's.
Okay, that's
Let's
cool.
keep it a little bit clean.
So crap is good.
Crap's fine.
Crap is good.
Crap wherever you want. I'm sorry. Please continue.
All of the crap people say about Luton is actually what you can't fault us.
Yeah.
Is the community spirit and the community power and how we look out for each other.
Yeah.
Regardless of your skin color, regardless of your race, regardless of your religion, regardless of your ability or disability, your sexuality.
Yeah.
We are Luton at the end of the day, and you know that power can't be taken away from us, and that's what we need to build on. That's what we need to drive with our town. So, but to answer your question, short, it was a manic time.
Yeah, man. Like, so yeah, let's talk about like what you know, a little bit of your life. Then, yeah, because I mean, we just sort of rushed into straight away, bang, the pandemic, which I really wanted to hear about because that's where I discovered you, and you know, part of your community efforts were you know, there's a lot of people who have had that little bit of an effect on me to sort of shape my idea of what I should be doing, how I should be doing it, and the way that you went about it and how positive you were and like how super let's go Luton you were. Do you know what I mean? You're real like Team Luton. I love that about you, man. And that's what kind of made me want to be like so proud of I wanted to be as proud as you are of our town and to really like scream it from the rooftops. You know what I mean?
Don't tell anyone. I'm an incomer as well. I'm not a Lutonian.
Oh, well, I can tell. I can hear your voice.
By the accent.
Yeah, I can tell by your voice. No, but at the same time, you've got the same passion as what I do. And that's kind of what this show's about, you know. It's about people that are super passionate, super positive, and want to make a difference. And like, you're that guy. But let's go back in time, yeah. So where are you from then?
So I'm originally from a little place in Leicestershire called Littlethorpe.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah,
it's a tiny little village. So I grew up there. I was literally the only gay in the village. I went to university in Liverpool. I studied drama and theatre studies and geography. Yeah. So I could, you know, act my way around the world, you know, explain and pretend to be a tree at the same time. Find my way to a theatre. I've heard them all. After that, I spent 3 years there and had an amazing time, but then moved back to the rurals, but this time North Norfolk.
Yeah.
I spent 6 years in North Norfolk working in outdoor education.
Okay. When you say North Norfolk, do you mean like at the north end of Norfolk?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereabouts? So Cromer.
Cromer. Oh yeah, because I used to go to Hunstanton a lot when I was a kid.
Okay.
So I know the area quite well.
Yeah. So I lived in Cromer for 6 years. I worked in outdoor education, so I taught kids rock climbing, abseiling, archery.
Oh, sick.
I also developed their Key Stage 2, so primary through to A-level resources and education. So we taught sort of controlled assessments, part of GCSE and A-level environmental studies and all of those things as well. And I led that team eventually. Spent a year in Hexham, but we don't really talk about that.
All right, we'll just move. We just moved past past that stage. But that was the same company. And I was a councillor, so I was one of the youngest councillors in Cromer for the town council for 40 plus years. And that's, I suppose, when I got a bit of interest in politics. I was always a bit involved from students, but I got more involved in politics, more interested. Let you in a little secret. There is some council minutes somewhere. What does say that Councillor Scott Eastwood is Santa Claus? I can't confirm or deny that rumor. Well, people are going to try and find out now.
People are going to try and find out now,
aren't they?
Cromer Town Council's archive of minutes is going to be
it's going to be ransacked.
it's going to be have the biggest day in its history. People trying to find minutes.
There's going to be people lining up at the door. I need to see the information. Is Scott Griffwood really Santa Claus? Come on, show me now.
Yeah.
No, that's amazing.
After that, I left there in 2013. Went to work up in Yorkshire. So at that time, I worked for the Labour Party as a campaign organiser. I worked for 2 years up in Yorkshire. Had an incredible time again, supporting candidates and supporting councillors to start changing communities. And that's, I think, along with my work in a sort of a council setting as a councillor, but then that really shaped my enthusiasm for community.
Yeah.
And how actually small, minutiae things can start changing the lives of people for the better.
Yeah.
And, there was one, I'll always remember one area, it had a ginnel, so it had an alleyway, one end and another. It was full of drugs, rubbish, etc. And talking to a local community, they said, we're not happy with this, we want it changed. Right, well, what do we want to change? So we got the local council to put gates either end.
Yeah.
Straight away, it stopped the flag tipping. It stopped the drug use. It stopped the illicit behaviour going on. Something else happened though as well. Kids started coming out from this street here and this street here and the terrace houses and playing in this ginnel, what was full of rubbish before.
Okay.
Playing football. They'll never play football with each other because they lived on this street and they lived on this street.
Yeah.
But we started using
so you just opened up a community.
You opened up a little community. Then community gardening started happening with like strawberry plants, and there was a community artist on the street who then taught the kids how to graffiti, but they did it properly, and they held street parties between the two streets. And from a really, really small investment from a local authority,
just shutting off a little alleyway,
to tackle and social behaviour, created a whole new community asset.
Yeah.
And for me, that was key. That was almost like a turning point.
Yeah.
Fast forward a little bit, the working for the Labour Party was great. I worked with Gordon Brown for a couple of months on the Scottish referendum. Wow. I worked with Douglas Alexander up in Paisley in 2015 when he was a shadow DFID secretary, so international aid. And he was campaign coordinator for 2015 elections. Fast forward a bit, I moved to Luton in October 2015 after the 2015 elections, and started working for the Alzheimer's Society in public affairs and talking to local authorities, talking to MPs about people affected by dementia, how they, what support they need, actually what policies need to be in place, how we need to change social care for the better, how we need to look at hospital discharge into adult social care, but also how it needs properly funding and properly investing.
Yeah.
Did that for a number of years. And then the 2017 elections came along. Someone I knew won the seat, what actually we were trying to win in 2015. We didn't, but they won it in 2017. They asked me to come and work for them. So I worked in Parliament for a year as an advisor to her, senior advisor. And she was also John McDonnell's private parliamentary secretary. So she was PPS, and John was Shadow Chancellor at the time. So we did some work on sort of charity and the voluntary sector and how financial and fiscal policy might influence them.
Yeah.
Did that for a year, saw through Brexit. So there's a whole series of Facebook posts explaining the processes of Brexit and Article 4 and what it means, and vote 227 and what this might mean if this goes through, and moved on, and then I went to work for the National Lottery Community Fund, so around funding, but again as their external affairs manager, looking at policy, public affairs and their events program and how we can maximise the impact of community with our politicians. And that's where it was when the pandemic hit. And so we were doing lots of influence and lots of engagement with our politicians and our senior politicians, with Rishi at the time when he was Chancellor, with people like Oliver Dowden, who was Secretary of State for Culture at that point, to get them to properly fund the 1.8 million 1.8 billion, sorry, that the National Council of Voluntary Organisations said charities needed during the pandemic.
Yeah.
We got to about 400 million in the end, went out. What was still a good amount, but it meant lots of our charities really suffered and actually still are.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's where we got up to with the pandemic. Since then, April last year, so this is what, December 2022, we're filming this. We're not sitting in the summer in our elf hats. But April 2021, I started working for the council as a community development manager in social justice. And that was responsible, I am responsible around our voluntary and charitable sector, working on funding, supporting communities to thrive, flipping things. So instead of looking at what's wrong, let's look at what's strong in Luton.
That's why.
Let's look at what is really good and how do we build on that.
Yeah.
Instead of actually, this is what's always wrong.
Yeah.
And then we have our Fairness Task Force, what's our permanent citizens think tank, and to allow citizens the opportunity to share their ideas, share their views, share their thoughts. Because actually, as a council, and this is brave for Luton Council to say this, not many councils will, we don't have all the answers.
Yeah.
But actually, our citizens do.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
And from that, we will go, right, how do we take this plan? And even let's look at it and even go, let's try it. And we might go, this won't work because of X, Y, and Z. Or actually, this is great. Let's do this. Right, let's roll it out. So we look after that. And then within our wider social justice unit as well, we have equality, diversity, inclusion. We have refugees and asylum seekers. We have warm spaces currently. We're in a cost of living crisis
I've seen some of that.
right now. So that's something we've stepped up in the last 6 weeks.
Oh my gosh, so necessary right now.
As well as I said, supporting our voluntary charitable sector, supporting our and also looking and supporting our members, so our councillors, and how they engage with their communities.
Yeah.
So what actually do our councillors do to really develop and shape neighbourhoods and networks, and what can they do to be the best councillors? And I always joke, I want councillors in Luton to be like 1990s councillors, where they know every single thing going on in their neighbourhood.
Yeah.
With 21st century skills of a councillor. So they use social media.
That's quite an intelligent way of looking at it.
They use social media. They understand actually this is a financial situation we're in. They understand actually our citizens have changed and our communities are changing and constantly evolving.
Yeah.
But they know everything what's going on. And they're their first point of call for residents.
Yeah.
I'm not going to touch on councillors too much in this one because I am politically restricted.
Yeah,
so I don't want to say anything out of
No, of course not, man. I don't expect you to either. This is not a I'm going to get you kind of podcast. Do you know what I mean? I'd just like to find out about you and what the positive things that you're doing and the things that the town can gain from what you're saying and do. Because ultimately, there's going to be people out there who maybe they want to make a difference and they want to make a change. They don't really know how to. But now by listening to you, they know that they can come to Scott Griffwood and they can ask for some advice. Yeah. What should I do? If I've got a great idea, but I don't know how to enact it, and I think it could positively affect my community, you're the guy to talk to.
Absolutely. You know me and my team, I'm going to big up my team.
Yeah, big up your team. Let's hear them. Come on.
I've got like Shahir and Sultan Khan and Sanjeev Kumar and Lauren Cox who work directly with me in community development. These people are absolutely incredible. They've got, 60, 70 plus years experience between them.
Yeah.
In developing the town and community development, and they are experts in it. They're experts in their areas.
Yeah.
They absolutely, know everything what's going on. Yeah. They know everyone in their particular neighbourhoods that they look after. And I couldn't do half the things I do in terms of my work life without them. Because actually they're the ones who quite often do the graft while I'm stuck behind a desk writing a policy or trying to write a paper to go to council. They're the ones who actually are doing a hard graft on the street. So I do need to give them a little shout out.
Yeah, definitely. No, look, you are nothing without your team, right?
Exactly.
It's so true. Like a lot of the stuff that I do alone. Yeah, but then at the same time, I do have a small team of people who support me, like my tailor. Big shout out to my tailor, Atia Kuzar. She's an amazing lady who I came
She knows who the real Deadpool is.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, because I needed to. When I first got this mask, for instance, right? It was a lot bigger. It looked so silly. I first put the suit on, and the suit fit absolutely perfectly because it's tailor-made sort of thing, and I've made additions to it to make it even more perfect. But the mask came, and it was like 3 times the size of my head. And my wife looked at me. She was like, "Everybody is going to call you like Deadpool XL or something like that, like or Fat Paul or something."
Sagpool.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, it would have been something horrible. So I needed to get it fixed. And my first protocol was, this is what I do. Everything I Google what I need, and I go for the most local person. And partly it's because I want someone in my area to benefit, but also it's because I'm really lazy. I don't like to go far for things. So I found this lady. She was literally 2 minutes down the road from me. So I went round with the mask. She only does Asian bridal dresses, and I turn up with my Deadpool mask. So I say, "Can you help me out?" And I explain what I'm doing and stuff. And she was like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." Like, didn't even question it at all. And then within a day, she gave it back to me. Absolutely, I couldn't see. She had to cut like a whole side out. She didn't cut like evenly. She just took. Oh, my hat's funky, isn't it?
I thought you were being cool.
I wasn't. That was just stupid. But yeah, she cut like one whole side of the head out, and I couldn't see where she done it.
Mm.
She was so good. Her work is absolutely flawless, and ever since then, I use her for everything. And I'm regularly just coming in, dumping my suit on her, be like, "Yeah, there's this wrong and this wrong and this wrong," and then she fixes it in such a rapid amount of time. And then yeah, she's just magic. So I always give her a shout out. But yeah, just saying about teams, like, they're so important, and I'm sure that, like you say, you would be nothing without the people that you work with, right?
100%, 100%. They are great, and they are equally as dedicated to Luton.
Yeah,
and that's what's great about working with them as well. So.
yeah. Well, you need to have that for this town. And let's talk a little bit now about Prince Charles, because I think like that's something that I think has been a very, very positive experience for the town. We had one person try and ruin it.
I heard he was from Harpenden.
Really?
No, I'm making this up.
Oh.
But if you say it,
okay, no, he was from Bradford, man. That's what I heard. Yeah, he's from one of them Bradford guys. So, yeah.
Came down here from St Albans,
do
throwing
you know
their
what I mean?
posh eggs from St Albans at our king.
No, but I mean, like on the whole, I was there. I didn't even see it happen. It just like the whole time, it was so lovely, and I didn't hear anyone shouting anything at him, and that made me really proud of our town, because there are places where he goes where he gets like quite a bit of abuse that you don't really see when you're behind the TV screen and watching it happen. But people have told me he's been to places and people screaming stuff at him, and like if you have your opinions on the guy, you have your opinions on the guy, but at the same time, remember you are representing your town in that moment, and the newspapers, the TV people, they don't care about you and what your views are. All they care about is showing, look at what Luton's done now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Every time. Like, and that's what really upset me with someone trying to do that, because it was lovely. Like I got there and there were so many people there, all the kids that were singing, and you had the band playing. It was absolutely amazing. I couldn't believe it was happening. And when he drove down, it was like the most surreal moment of my life. I couldn't believe I see King Charles. Like, like I say, whatever anybody thinks of him, he's a historical figure for a fact. Like, he's somebody who people are going to talk about in years and years to come, like when we're all dead and gone. So he's a very significant person. To be within that person's reach is just like such a humbling experience in a way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. And I think,
I'm just going to have a bit of Coke because I've got
fine.
such bad dry mouth.
Quick, take his mask. Expose him.
No, go on then.
I was going to say, yeah, so yesterday I played a very, very small part. And again, I'm going to do a shout out. I'm going to take this opportunity to do a huge shout out to the people who actually were working flat out for weeks on this to make it behind the scenes, from people like Mark Turner, who's our service director at the airport, who was liaising with Palace, to Jane Malcolm, head of 2040, Adam Kearney, our head of comms at the council, Adam Divney, our service director for citizen engagement, people like Robin Porter as
Oh,
well,
he's great. I love
chief
Robbie.
exec. But then not down to, but like the people who were working on a day, people like Moz, who, you know, is Hazel's PA in the council, so Councillor Simmons' PA, but she was then serving teas and coffees to those people in the town hall yesterday, and you know, and everyone was stepping up out of their work to do bits and pieces. We were erecting flags at 7:45 yesterday morning in temporary flagpoles, what we had to learn how to build very quickly. Breaking hose pipes in the process, but you know, and then we were doing that. But again, there was a huge team behind it. People like James Hardiman and Totally Island from our public protection order team, who were liaising with the security services, with the police, all of those people. Sarah Hall and her team, you know, there's been some critics who have said the town's never looked so clean. You know what? So what? Take it actually as great. This part of this town is clean. But then my question to those people is, what can you do for your town? What can you do for your street to make it as clean?
I mean, like, let me just comment on that, actually, because that is a great point. And I've had people say this to me up and down constantly, you know, about how for a few days beforehand, there are road workers everywhere. And do you know what? I feel, okay, so I've got two parts to this, what I feel. So, firstly, the King's coming to town. We best look good. We best look good. That is where I stand. If the King is coming to town, I want there to be nothing in anywhere to see of any rubbish or anything, because would you rather the King come when it's clean or dirty?
And when the world press is on it.
And when the world press, this is a great time for Luton to shine. So yeah, let's get our act together and get the whole place looking spick and span. And my second part to it is in response to people who say, oh, well, they've never bothered like this before. Well, you don't see what goes on behind the scenes. You don't see the struggle, firstly. But then also, like you say, I'm going to echo your sentiment. What are you doing about it? Do you know what I mean? What are the people who are going to stand around complaining? I am all for people complaining, but I'm not for people complaining and doing nothing. I'm not up for that at all. I do my bit, I understand that this town is massive. You know, it doesn't feel like it when you drive around. It doesn't feel like a giant place, but it's a huge place. And to be on top of every single bit, like the council can only do so much in many areas.
And when they've had £100 million worth of cuts in the last 10 years of their levy, what comes from central government, they've had huge cuts. We're still in austerity now, you know, 12 years on. And until that is addressed, our citizens aren't going to have the best of it. But people like Sarah and her team, I saw Sarah about 7:30 yesterday morning before the King's visit, and I said, "Are you okay?" And she went, "I've walked walked every single street and side street he might go down just to make sure I show the best of Luton." That was by 7:30 in the morning. She had already done that. So, you know, people deeply care. But instead of chucking your fag butt on the ground, stub it out and put it in the bin.
Exactly. You
know,
it's as easy as that.
Clean the leaves off a little piece of street right in front of your house. Just brush them up, chuck them into a bin. If everyone, we have 240,000 citizens in the town, if everyone did 5-10 minutes just once a week, the town would be sparkling constantly.
Exactly. And then, do you know what? It maybe would save us a bit of money as well that can go into another area. Do you know what I mean? Like, you might be able to redistribute the wealth of needing to clean so often and so frequently and put it into some education stuff, for instance, you know, or some underprivileged youths, or whatever the cause is going to be that you're going to go for. But you can turn that money around into something good. And I think that you're right. Like, I think that we're living in a time now where people are becoming more independent of the government, right? In terms of how they earn money, how they express themselves, just everything. Everything's becoming. We're getting more and more further away from needing government for certain things. Like, for instance, if you sell cupcakes, right? You don't need to go and get a shop. You can just sell them online. You can sell them through Instagram, for God's sakes. And you can actually make a living off of doing that. Whereas before, you would have had to go a loan for a shop. And do you see what I mean? Like, times are changing massively. And I think it's like, I think I'm evident of it. Like, I've decided I've had enough of waiting for things to change. I'm going to make things change. And hopefully I've got enough good people around me that are going to make things change, because I can't do it by myself. But I know that the only way to actually make a change is to stand up and do something. You can't just bloody complain all the time. You've got to actually go out with a rubbish bag. Go and pick up some rubbish, man. See how much better it makes your street look. And then in turn, because of that, the people that come down your street think it's better. And then they treat it better. They don't maybe necessarily throw because if you drive past a place and there's rubbish everywhere, you're more inclined to throw more on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And if not you, then who?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I think everybody should be asking themselves, because we're caught in two places at the moment where people need to be more independent of needing to require assistance in things like picking up litter, right? Which is kind of ridiculous. I don't think that people have ever had a litter problem, because years ago people were more responsible about stuff like that, and they would pick their litter up if and people got kind of publicly shamed for litter dropping. And there's people now who literally just openly throw stuff in the street. I remember being a kid, and like if I saw someone doing that, I wouldn't necessarily say it, but someone would say something to the person that's doing it. And I don't know, maybe people just don't care enough about things like that, and they don't realise that just by having more litter on the street, that actually leads to more crime. Like, there's actual evidence that shows that a place that has more litter, you get more drug use, you get more homelessness, you get all of the bad things that go along with it. So even if it's not the litter's fault directly, just by having an impact on that maybe then has a knock-on effect to other things. So yeah, sorry,
100%.
I went off on a bit of a
that's fine
then.
And 100% on that. So when you think about things such as so my challenge to our communities, and you know what, I'm sure you and me and hundreds of others people like it will be right beside you. But if you're upset about your play park, it's looking a bit run down, get in touch with us at socialjustice@luton.gov.uk. You know what? We'll work with you. Let's go and get some paint from B&Q and let's paint all the railings.
Yeah, let's make an event out of it.
Let's do something small, tiny, 10-minute, 15-minute actions around an asset in a community, and let's build on that. Let's build on what is strong, what is wrong. But we've already got a play park there. Great. It needs a bit of paint. As a community, 10 of us, let's do it.
Yeah.
We'll smash it out in the morning. It'll look better.
Yeah.
And I tell you, next time a kid drops a piece of litter in that playground, the parents been involved in that, they'll be like, hang on.
Yeah, I've sorted this out. Exactly.
Pick up your litter.
Oh, you're so right.
And then what next? Then what next? Then what next? And actually, that's where my team can come in. My team can then support you and you as a group of residents to become a constituted charity, become a constituted group, can help you access funding. So actually, you can start making that real difference. And you started by wanting a new set of swings.
Yeah.
Actually, you've cleared up the playground. You've built a community orchard, and what you're doing next is actually, bringing together a whole community around neighbourhood safety, for example.
Yeah.
And you're starting to change Luton from the inside out.
Yeah, no, that's the way you got to do it, 100%.
That's what a lot of our community leaders yesterday, who had the opportunity to sit down and talk with King Charles III, actually spoke about. They spoke about, their role in community cohesion, their role in building communities. I just think it was a great event for the town, that he chose Luton as his first place to come in the region since becoming monarch.
That's crazy.
Fantastic. He opened the Gurdwara on Dallow Road. He opened the Dart. He met apprentices at the Dart. He met so many community leaders. He met so many of our public. Absolutely brilliant day for the town. And I don't know if you noticed, but he had an amazing tie on.
I didn't see his tie.
He had a light blue tie with pink T-Rexes.
No way.
On.
Really?
And that was the tie he was wearing.
No way.
Yes.
Seriously. Yes. I didn't. Obviously, where I was stood, wouldn't have mattered if I was this close to him. I wouldn't have probably seen it if it was that fine a detail. But yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah,
that.
So he had a blue tie with bright pink T-Rexes on.
Do you think that was on purpose, or do you think he's just fun?
I think there's a little bit of fun with him. I've met him once or twice.
Oh, really?
Well, more than once or twice. A few times before in my old job.
Yeah.
With a couple of royal visits and things. So Yeah, and there's certainly a mischievous side to him.
Yeah. Well,
and
you'd have to be if you lived a life like that, man. Like, come on, you got to have a bit of fun every night.
Someone who dresses you every morning, make sure you're. I don't know if this happens, but make sure your toothpaste is on your toothbrush when you.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they don't go to that extremes.
Yeah.
But you need a little bit of like. And who doesn't love a dinosaur?
Yeah, exactly. Dinosaurs are great. They're great. My daughter loves dinosaurs, and them two will probably get on quite well.
so does my godson. Absolutely loves dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs are the best, man. It's like, it's the only creature that exists that if it was around right now, everyone would be terrified, right? But we love them so much because they're dead.
It at the same time.
What, you'd pat one?
Yeah.
Are you joking?
Like
well, it depends on the dinosaur.
Diplodocus or something.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm not going to go up to like a velociraptor and start stroking like, a velociraptor.
Coming up to like this.
It's not like a cat. It's not like, instead of throwing you throw a ball of wool and a velociraptor trots after it.
Yeah.
But like a diplodocus or something.
Maybe. But then how do you know that they're not just going to be freaked out by you as well and just stomp on you like... Man, I'm just saying, if dinosaurs were legitimately around, even the like big friendly supposedly ones, that I think Jurassic Park is lying to us. I don't think they would be as friendly as what you'd think.
Nah, I
don't know.
We'd be bezies.
You reckon?
Yeah.
You can just imagine that little saddle on the back of a Diplodocus, and you're just riding into the sunset.
Indeed.
Right, how did we get to that anyway?
King Charles.
King Charles, dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs, Thai. There we are.
It was truly incredible though. Like, from what my perspective was on it, I got to... Okay, I'm not like recommending that people do this because it was a silly and dangerous act and I shouldn't have done it, but I did it and I'm just going to admit it, right? So, and it's, to be honest, it's not even that big a deal, but you know where the like penny farthing type thing is outside where people can lock their bikes, yeah?
Yeah.
So I stood on top of one of them so I could see him, and as he walked past, I saw him, he stopped like, and he was shaking hands with people, and then he looked up and he saw me, and I was like this. And he looked so confused. It was so funny. I was there like, going, yes, look at me.
It's all about me today.
Forget about the king. Look at me. No, my ego is not that bad. It's not that bad. Oh my gosh, could you imagine? Could you imagine if it was that bad that I'm upset that the king has come to town and the attention isn't on me? No, but yeah, I stood up there and it was like absolutely amazing to just see him going around interacting with people, and he's a lot smaller than I thought he would be. I don't know why I thought he'd be like ginormous.
He's old. I mean? He's quite old as well.
He's an old boy, yeah.
You do shrink in age, don't you?
So. Yeah, I know. I'm terrified of that. I'm quite tall as is. How tall are you?
I claim 5'7", but I think probably about 5'6".
I don't know how tall I am. I think I'm about 6'1". I'd hate it if I shrink under 6 foot after being 6 foot at least already.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it feels like, I don't know. I just feel like it would be unfair. Like, I always wanted, I got to 6'1" pretty early in life. I was about maybe 16, 17, and I just stopped growing. All my mates carried on growing and caught up with me. And I was furious. When I was 16, I was certain I was going to be like nearly 7 foot and dunking on people in basketball and stuff, and didn't happen at all. My
favourite question for people always is, what biscuit would you be?
Oh.
And I always say I would be a bourbon.
Okay.
Because it's the only time I'd be tall and skinny in my life. I wouldn't want to be a custard cream, like short and squat, like I am now, but tall and skinny bourbon, I am there.
I love that question. Let me think. What biscuit would I be?
I feel like
I'd be a BNBN. I'd be a BNBN. I know it's not necessarily a biscuit. It's basically a biscuit, isn't it?
It is a biscuit.
It's a biscuit.
Yeah.
Because of the song.
Is that it?
That's it.
But they taste rubbish.
Oh, I don't care. I love the song, and because of the song, I buy them. Like, advertising works on me. That's like one of the very few adverts where the product is shit, yeah, but I will buy it because of the song.
Can we just give everyone an earworm?
Yeah.
BNBN. BNBN.
BNBN. There we go. That was all right. That was pretty good. Not rehearsed.
Not rehearsed at all.
Not like you wouldn't know.
And now when you listen to this podcast, that's going to be in your head all day.
Oh man,
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, really. Do you know what? I love giving people little ones. I hate it when it happens to me. Like if I hear my daughter's listening to Moana or whatever, and it's just on repeat all day long. She'll finish it once, and she's like, again. All right, cool. Like 17 times later, and now it's in my head for the entire. I'm not going to sing it.
You're welcome.
No, I'm not going to sing it. I'm not going to sing it because then it will start again, and I'll be paralysed with it for weeks. You don't understand the pain that I go through with that song. But anyway, let's move on.
Shall we move on from Disney and the King and dinosaurs and biscuits?
What do you want to talk about now? Christmas. Let's talk about Christmas.
We'll talk about. Christmas.
Before Christmas, let me check that this is working. Let me check. We're good. Yep, this is perfect. Oh, you look so great, man. Look at how happy and Christmassy you are. Okay, so firstly, I love your hat and I love your penguin
time top.
That is amazing. It's amazing. So you're obviously a super Christmassy guy, right?
I absolutely love Christmas, Halloween.
Yeah.
They are my two favourite times of the year. I think for me, Christmas is about seeing people, it's about family, it's about friends, it's about coming together, it's about mulled wine and mince pies. It's just about having a good time. I think with times being a bit tight this year, there's a fantastic advert what was made by a 20-year-old in Yorkshire, and it was Christmas is made, not bought.
Yeah.
And he told his son that Santa was poorly, so he couldn't come this year because he was a bereaved dad and he couldn't afford Christmas. And it's this whole like alternative John Lewis advert, they're calling it.
Okay.
Other brands are available. Or if you want to give Deadpool sponsorship, John Lewis.
Hey, I'm waiting for a sponsor brought to you by John Lewis. Like something that I can do that. I think that was quite good.
Yeah.
It's quite. Anyway, go on.
But it's fantastic, like how this alternative advert has been made, and I think it really brought home that Christmas.
Yeah,
is about those ones you love, and it's about Christmas is made, and it's made through memories.
Yeah.
So if people are struggling this year, times are tight. We're in a cost of living crisis, energy prices going up, food's gone up, heating's gone up.
Yeah.
Absolutely everything. Don't worry. Make memories, presents come and go.
Yeah.
A present you might buy your kid, they'll be bored of in a couple of months. So make memories, make time for each other, make time for family, make time for friends, even if that's going out for a nice, crisp winter's walk or, whatever, playing a family game of charades, doing whatever, but just make time for each other. Stop and appreciate who you've got around you. Because I think that's what the pandemic taught us as well.
Yeah.
That Christmas we couldn't have with family and friends.
Oh, that was horrible.
And, we did. I remember vividly, my brother came up, he was in bubble 3 or tier 3, whatever it was. He lived in London by himself. We were in tier 3. My parents were in tier 2, so we couldn't go to them. He came and bubbled with us over Christmas, and we Zoomed my parents on Christmas Day to open our presents. And they went, well, we've got some presents here, but you can't have them. And
yeah,
that
was hard. It was a hard time.
It was absolutely, but I say this year, just make time.
Yeah, no, I love that. And again, I'll echo your sentiment because it's exactly what I believe about Christmas. Since I was a kid, my mum put so much effort into Christmas for me and my brother and sister, and we didn't have like a tremendous amount of money in the house, but my mum would drain herself dry to make Christmas happen. And I don't actually remember a lot of the presents. I just remember the hard work and the happiness on my mum's face, seeing me open the thing that she'd worked so hard to get me. And then at Christmas dinner, just having her sit and just look around when she knows she's done all of her last jobs and seeing how proud she is and what she's achieved. Like, they're the moments that really stuck with me because, it showed me like what was important about not just Christmas, but about life in general. It's not about the things that you get, it's about the things that you give. And like with your family, you tend to often sometimes forget that. A lot. I think it happens a lot with people, and the only thing that you can try and do is make sure that the people that you love that are around you, you give them the most of you that you can, because we're not here for very long,
No.
and you don't want to miss a chance to have a happy memory, because it's so important, and not necessarily even just for you, but for whoever's around you. You might have a Christmas day where that that moment changes someone's life, and then they go on to achieve something great, and it's because they'll come to you and you come and be like, do you know that day on Christmas when you showed me so much love? I was so down, and then I didn't think I could do the thing that I wanted to do, but then you made me feel like I could, and here I am now, and look at all the great things I'm achieving. It's because of that moment. Like, that happens all the time in life.
Absolutely, 100%. And I say, I love Christmas. So like, we've got builders in at the moment, but we've got one tree up. I'm itching to get the second tree up already, but it's in the way of everything.
Yeah.
I've managed to persuade Paul that we can have an inflatable snowman. Living in a terrace house before, we didn't really have space, but we've got a little bit more space now, so we can. So that's great. But like, I just can't wait. Like, we've got a big event coming up. We have a couple of big events in the Griffwood calendar. One of them is mulled wine, mince pies, and carols.
Yeah.
So we just have literally an open house for all friends and family from like 3 p.m. till 3 a.m. And there'll be gallons of mulled wine and hundreds of mince pies eaten. But what's great is people pop in for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
People pop in for an hour with the kids. People will come at 3 p.m. and still be there at 3 a.m. The next morning. Like, and it's just a great time.
Yeah.
This year's is the day before our Sunday social with Pride in Luton for Christmas.
Oh, okay.
So I can't even drink too much mulled wine this year because I've got to be compos mentis the next day for Pride's Christmas Sunday social. What's happening on Sunday the 18th of December, 1 till 4 in the Hat Factory. Another little plug.
There you go. There you go. No, I love your ability to do these, man. You do it so flawlessly. Like, it's wicked. Go on, tell us.
So the Sunday socials came out of our engagement. So as you know, we did the Festival of Pride in Luton this year.
First one as well.
First one in Bedfordshire.
Wow.
50 years since Pride has been happening in the UK. Luton held its first, and we did a big gay family picnic in September then.
Yeah.
And feedback we got from that is people would like a Sunday or a time where each month where people could come together. And Sunday took in some of our older members of our LGBTQI plus community. They always said Sunday was a really big day for the community because actually it was a family day.
Yeah.
And for lots of our older people in that community, they didn't necessarily have connections with family anymore.
Yeah.
So people would always come together.
Yeah.
From that community. So it's a really big day. So we set up our Sunday socials. We held our first one in November. It was fantastic. We had a bit of a quiz. We had some bits. People could just chill out. People made new friends. We took a moment to mark National Trans Day of Remembrance, what was on that day. And also we stood in solidarity with LGBTIQ plus Qataris who are still facing the potential death penalty.
Yeah, I know. That's dreadful.
You get a choice of death in Qatar if you're LGBTQ plus and you're found guilty. So you can be dropped from the highest perch, you can be halved by a sword, you can be stoned by the mob, or you can be hung. So at least they give you a choice how you want to die. But I think, I'm not going to get into the politics of why Qatar shouldn't have had the World Cup.
No, I've got my views on it myself. I know that it's a touchy subject, but from where I sit, the world should be built on love, man, not hate. Like, I don't care what somebody look. I don't care what people think of what I think either. I don't think that people should care about what each other think about too many things, unless you're not hurting somebody. If you're hurting somebody, then everybody should have a conversation about that thing and see, is it worth us to be hurting this one particular group for no reason other than a couple of people hate them? Like, if there's harm being involved, then conversations need to happen. But I mean, for me, I think everybody should just be allowed to live however they want to live, and
just don't be a dick.
Yeah, just don't be a dick. Don't double dip. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know when you're eating crisps with somebody and then they dip it once, they eat, and then they dip it again, and you're like, you've just ruined the whole dip.
And they leave crumbs in it at that point, and you're like, you've mixed a guacamole with a sour cream.
Don't.
And you can leave a house, and our friendship is over at this point. But so anyway, so where was I? Sunday the 18th of December. Yes, so it's going to be amazing. It's our Christmas social for Pride. We go totally off on tangents, don't we?
Yeah, I know, man. I love it. We should just do this. We should just do this every now and then, because I'm pretty sure we're going to unearth some pretty cool topics along the way.
But yeah, so Sunday the 18th of December, 1 till 4 in the Hat Factory. It's open to any member of the LGBTIQ plus community and allies. We've got some great performers on. So Michelle number 5 is going to be singing some impromptu Christmas carols.
Cool.
We'll have a close-up magician who will be doing a bit of magician tricks.
Awesome.
There'll be some mince pies. There might be some little a little gift for any families who might come along as well. Who might LGBT parents who might bring their kids along, or straight parents who bring their LGBT kids along.
I'm one of those parents. My daughter came out to me 2 years ago, and yeah, man, like she went to Pride in Luton. She was there for that. She had a great time, and yeah, like I'm one of them parents that, like, I'm not getting in her way. Yeah, it's up to her, man. Like, I'm not gonna. Like, if she starts telling me that she wants to ride bikes on tight ropes over cliff faces, right, then I'm going to say no. Yeah? But if she wants to love a person, it's up to her. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to get involved with her life and what she wants or what doesn't want. I'm not going to influence her either way. Do you know what I mean? It's up to her to have her journey. So whatever she wants to do, and she loves everything Pride in Luton was. So the more stuff that she can go to like that, because I know that for her, in school at the moment, she doesn't feel like a lot of the crowd in school is representative of herself. I think that's the thing that when growing up, I remember being in school and there was people who came out and they were gay and stuff, but, they were just demonized about it all the time. It was like, oh, well, you're not normal. Like, you have to be normal. And that's the thing that affects, like, straight people just saying of, not necessarily a sexuality way, but of a, like, I loved comic books when I was a kid. But when I was a kid, if I would have admitted loving comic books, I would have had my ass handed to me on a daily basis, right? So I used to hide that. And then when I left school, comic books became cool. So I missed out, unfortunately. But you know what I mean? It's like
100%. I was a gay drama kid who also played rugby. Like
that is a combination.
So yeah. I came out to my parents when I was 19. I think they probably knew a long while before that. Yeah. But at school, I played rugby. So I played school rugby. I played club rugby. I played county rugby. So I played to a fair level. But I also did performing arts. There's great photos of me in pantomime drag, playing the Panto Dame in Dick Whittington, and
man, I love Panto. I love Panto. It's so much fun, man. I love it. It's just like it's just pure tongue-in-cheek humor the whole way along, and like anyone that doesn't get that, can go away. I'm not interested.
Dick Whittington. Hundreds of puns.
Do you know what I mean?
They came out ready. The first thing what came out was I was on stage, cleaning or something like that, and his cat walks in, and I don't know if I should I do what I did?
Go on, do it.
Oh, what a pretty pussy! Come here and let me stroke you. About his cat, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, we're talking about cats here, children, okay?
So, but that for an opening line of a pantomime in Dick Whittington.
Yeah, because, growing up for me, them sort of jokes were always like, that's what panto's about, do you know what I mean? It's
a level of adults get it, but the kids are like, oh, look, it's because there's cats there.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So we are planning maybe a Pride in Luton panto next year.
Oh, okay.
Oh
my gosh, can I be in it?
So Yeah, so
What do you
we're
reckon?
working. I reckon maybe a cameo.
I could easily do a cameo. I've always, do you know what? Ever since I was a little boy, I've wanted to perform. Do you know what I mean? Always wanted to perform, and this is what kind of like I get to do it in a way. Doing this, luckily, it's like what I am as Deadpool is actually just my real self. It's like it's my most real self, right? But yeah, any chance I've had to get on the stage and just be like wowed by what you get to see up there, because you know I got the chance to be on stage at Diwali in Luton, and when I got up there, none of it was planned. I just sort of someone said, "Do you want to go on stage?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." It was one of the DJs from Diverse FM, DJ Crispy. Big up DJ Crispy. He got me on stage, and I stood up there, and it was such a rush, and like I'm not like yearning for the stage or anything like that, but man, anything that like I could help out with to something like to be in a panto. Oh my gosh, my kids would go crazy if they get to see that.
But yeah, so
yeah, but tell me, sorry, I've detracted away from.
Where were you again?
Panto, you're doing Panto.
Yeah. So we might be doing Panto Pride next year, but yeah, we've got some great things coming up on the 18th. Come along 1 till 4 in the Hat District. It's in the Hat Factory. It's totally free. Special thanks to the Culture Trust for supporting us on this, you know, and giving us a space free. But also special thanks for EasyJet, because actually they came to us and they had a conversation with us last year and said, we don't want to fund Pride. We want to fund between Prides to actually help you build a community.
That's lovely.
And that is more powerful.
Yeah.
However, if you do want to sponsor us Pride, we'll happily take your money, because we need to raise lots to make it happen again next year. But, you know, having a big company like EasyJet, whose head office is in Luton, going, actually, this is great, and we can support this, is absolutely banging.
Yeah, man, I agree.
So I'll maybe give you a few teasers of what's coming up.
Yeah, please.
Over.
Yeah, do.
So obviously we've got the Sunday Social, the 18th of October, 18th of December even. Yep. December. It's 1 till 4 in the Hat Factory. We're having January off.
Yeah.
I'm taking my long-awaited honeymoon. That's not part of a Pride calendar.
Good man.
But we're off to Costa Rica for a couple of weeks.
Oh, lovely.
February, we'll be flying back into it with LGBT History Month. So we'll be having numerous different things on. We're going to maybe, hopefully, touch wood, try our first club night as Pride in Luton as well, because it's something the community have asked for.
Yeah.
So see how that works. And then we'll be going through and we'll be building it with Ida Hot Day. So that's 17th of May. So that's International Day Against Homophobia, Transphobia and Biphobia. And building into Pride next year. So Pride next year will be on the last Saturday of June. So Saturday the 24th of June, 1 till midnight in the Hat District again. We have some incredible acts already lined up.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'm allowed to do any spoilers, but I'm going to do one now anyway.
Go on then.
Because who's going to tell me off? So it's amazing. We've got Asifa Lahore back.
Oh, okay.
So Asifa compared for us last year. She's comparing the main stage again this year. She was her first ever out Muslim drag queen in the UK. She was incredible. She went down a storm. She got Luton. So she's back performing.
Awesome.
We had we've got a few other people up our sleeves, but I'm going to keep a little.
Yeah, you got to give them. Yeah, you want to have people wanting more. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Leave them wanting more. Yeah,
exactly. So, but Saturday, the 24th of June, 25th of June. I'm now questioning myself. The last Saturday in June, 1 till midnight in the Hat District is going to be Pride 2023 in Luton. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be.
I'm definitely coming this year.
We're going to have you speaking as a parent ally as well.
I would love to, man. I would absolutely love to. It'd be my honour. Yeah, the only reason why I couldn't for the last one is because I don't know if I can say this. I'll tell you off camera. But I couldn't go for certain reasons.
Too many donuts. Too many donuts, listeners. Too many donuts.
Yeah, I couldn't get into the seat. That was what it was.
That was it.
No, but Scott, look, man, I've absolutely loved talking to you, and I've got a feeling this is just the beginning of a beautiful friendship. I think we're going to do some pretty cool things to get to meet you in this town. This town is going to remember our names for doing weird, crazy things that lead from kings to dinosaurs.
Kings to dinosaurs to biscuits.
Mate, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
You've been awesome. I love you, Luton. And
BNBN.
I love you. You got him again. You got him again. Ah, yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. What did I just